Well friends, good afternoon to you all my revered teacher friends, participant friends, educational officers, all dignified participants, respected well-wishers. At the beginning of the class, means before going to start the discussion, I must have to express my sense of gratitude to you all, to all my well-wishers, because you are always standing behind me. The technical support hand, Google authority, particularly for the help, because I am searching internet. Always I am repeating the same thing, so as to, you see, place all the diagrams and drawings. Friends, if you do have any query or questions, you please write to my mail ID, or you can, you see, express your feelings through my WhatsApp numbers which have been given to you. Friends, you see, this is the area, means education in contemporary Indian society. We had one class, and this is the second class on the specific area. And we had also earlier one class on education and economic development. So in general, this class is for all the participant friends. Those students who are studying education, they will get most important information relating to their course contents. At the same time, all the participant friends will be benefited by studying the contents of the class. Friends, once we have to discuss about the system of education in the contemporary Indian society, then we must have to discuss about the function of the state, the roles of the state. We are to know the constitutional provisions concerning to education. At the same time, we are to know our responsibilities towards the social system, towards the nation or towards the state. Let us come back to this class today. Friends, regarding India or concerning to the system of governance or your country or our country, there is the explanation. So I shouldn't go on explaining because no tough contents are here in this slide. You please read it simply, and thenceforth you take out the most important, you see, concepts which are very much important for your academic discussions. Friends, up till now, whatever you have had or whatever you have learned just after completing your varied course or crossing varied phases of education, you have had definite concept concerning to education in general. Friends, in your psyche, means in your mindset, there is specific concept concerning to education just after the completion of your educational courses or just after coming or crossing all the phases of education which you have crossed. Still, you have also got the chance to develop a clear concept of education with the help of the courses you have completed. Means, you see, step by step your conceptions concerning to education have been changing, and it should be, because education is a very much dynamic process. It's a dynamic process. Education is not a static concept. It has concern with human life. It has concern with the transformation of human society. It has concern with the uplift of the economic parameter of a nation or of a state or of the global social order, and it has concern with the transformation of human civilization as a whole. So friends, the concept of education can be a permanent concept. We never can get one universal concept concerning to education. With the help of the courses, still you are continuing, you have come to know that education is a very dynamic process. Hence, we never can have a definite and permanent concept of education. We never can have a permanent concept of education. Education has close link with human life, and that's why it is said that life itself is education and education itself is life. Education is a force, education is a process with the help of which the transformation of potentialities of human life is possible. Education is a process with the help of which social changes or social transformation is possible. It's a process with the help of which the process of transformation of economy or the economic transformation is possible to achieve as per the chance demand of time and as per the demand of the, lives of the citizens. Let us go back to the next slide, friends. Education is a lifelong process. It begins or it starts when life begins or life starts, and it ends when life ends. So, once we are to know the starting point of education, we must have to say that once our life starts, education also starts. And when there is the end of our life journey, there is the end of the journey of education. It's a lifelong process. It begins with the birth of a child in family setting and gets concrete form in society and institution. Because with the help of the process of socialization, the human child learns so many things which are necessary for his or her life. So friends, in the social platform at the same time in institutional setting, education takes definite form, and that's why the influence of society in the process of education has special significance. At the same time, the influence of the institutions do have special importance in the process of building the educational concept in the mindset of the learners like you and me. The life-centric experiences necessary for the solutions of diverse problems we encounter is education. Means with the help of, entering with the problems of life, means facing different challenges, we collect or we gather experience or experiences, and once we see or scrutinize the process of gathering experience, it is nothing but education. It covers all types of the practical experiences and economic information and knowledge necessarily acquired by living life and attending purposefully different institutions. Experiences acquired by living life and attending different institutions in different stages of life help to solve life problems and take part in the productive process of social life for the uplift of life and transformation of society as well. Thus, education is a holistic concept and it has concern with life as well as economic experiences. It has concern with human society, it has concern with human culture, it has concern with the process of transformation of human civilization. So friends, let us go back to the next slide. From our practical life also, you all have acquired different experiences and training to face life situations. And that's why it is said that life is the best, life is the strongest educational institution, and life itself is the great master or one of the greatest master of your, process of education. Life itself is one of the valued or praiseworthy educational institution, and life itself is the master of the process of education which you do have. Thus, with the help of formal and informal experiences and training, you are acquiring different types of knowledge and experiences for the management of your life problems. This process of acquiring knowledge and experiences may be from formal setting or from informal moods is continuous. You see and try to scrutinize the activities of your own life for better understanding why the process of education in your life never stops. Life as you know it and feel about it is a very dynamic progression. Life is a topsy-turvy journey. It is a very dynamic progression. Therefore, the process of maintaining and managing life requires new experiences, training, knowledge, etc. The challenges of life always come to us in new form and in new force, just like the COVID-19. Friends, we do not see what will happen tomorrow. We cannot say what will happen tomorrow. So friends, for tomorrow, today, you and me, or we cannot become so much ready. We are to encounter the situation when it will come to our life. and with the help of the application of the intellectual power or intellectuality, we overcome different challenges of life and acquire different education from the from the process of life. And that's why it is said that it's a process of management of our life affairs or activities. So from different angles we can define education. You shouldn't bother that you are to keep in mind the definition which was forwarded by Mahatma Gandhi or the father of nation. Gandhiji said, and I like to quote before you, by education I do mean an all-round drawing out of the best in the child and man, body, mind and the spirit. So that was the concept of Gandhi, because the realization of Gandhi concerning to his own life and the understanding of the system of society of India, at the same time of that time the global social order was totally different. Your world is different, your life is different, your problems are different, your challenges are different, and that's why only by following the concept or perception of Gandhi concerning to education, your education will not be quite okay. You are to rebuild the perception just by observing the present situation of your own society and demands of your life. At the same time, you see, scrutinizing the problem of whole humanity. If you go back to the United States of America, John Dewey, then you will come to know that education is a process of reconstruction and reconstitution of human experience or experiences. It's a process of reconstruction. It's a process of reconstitution of human experiences. And that's why Dewey said more, you see, education means, life means, it's a process itself. Life is a dynamic process. Education is a dynamic process. And when life continues, the process with the continuation of life, the process of education also continues. So friends, education we need. Why we need education? So that we can courageously, confidently, successfully overcome the challenges of our life. And that's why by scrutinizing the demands of life and scrutinizing the time brought challenges, we are to review our perception concerning to education. And that's why it's a process, continuous process, dynamic process, lifelong process, with the help of which we can rebuild our life, we can rebuild our personality, we can reconstitute our society, we can reconstruct our culture, we can transform our existing civilization, we can transform the system of economy which is existing in our social order. Let us go back to the next slide. To face them means all the challenges in courageous and no defeating manner. We need to renew our experiences and training, which can be done only with the help of education. Thus, education, as you know, is a never-ending process. There is no end of the process of education, and that's why you never can stick to a particular definition of education as to be permanent or as to be most important for your life. It is a continuous process of reconstruction and reconstitution of experiences, I just have repeated, of our life. Life stops with the help of death, and education also stops to continue when the end of life becomes the reality. So friends, therefore, at the time of judging the course of education, we always keep in mind the goals of human life and the means of survival. It is school which prepares us to face life in an orderly manner. School is a social institution. All the educational institutions are the institutions of our society. These are the institutions of the state or the nation. And that's why with the help of the educational institution, we can make our education nation-oriented, society-oriented, you see, life-oriented as well as economy-oriented, culture-oriented, global social order-oriented. So friends, with the help of education, always we can judge the status of our life. We can also find out the different solutions of different problems of our life. It's a powerful means with the help of which we can face the challenges of our life. When life ends, when death results, we do not know when death will result, and You see, death is the end and birth is the beginning. These are the two most important points you see. And about the first point, we know so much well. About the last point, means about the point of death, we do not have any concept or idea. And that's why till the moment of our last journey, means that we are to review the concept of education, reconstitute the definition of education, reformulate the concept of education, so that as per the changes of our life, we can acquire experiences for facing life as per the demand of the change of time. Let us go back to the next one. Schools are the means with the help of which we get the chance to develop all the human attributes in life-oriented manner, means society-oriented manner. Schools are the social agencies which help us to develop our social behavior. Schools socialize us to live social life, which has special importance for the progress of humanity as a whole. The term school, as we know, has been originated from the Greek term schole, meaning philosophy. The word carries diverse meaning. This word has special importance because in exam also this is asked to write sometimes. In the present perspective, the term school is an institution for educating children. In other words, school is an institution at which instruction is given in a particular subject. Schools are the places where instructions and training are imparted to the education seekers in an orderly manner. Schools are the formal and organized setting for imparting necessary training and instruction for the young and in some cases adult learners. And schools do have relationship with the state, because schools are being supported by the state or by the nation, and these are the properties of nation. And with the help of the functions of the school, we are being national. Our attributes are being socialized so that we can take part in the process of social transformation and thereby growth of our national life, transformation of our national life. Let us go back to you all know very well that we are living in the globalized world, means post-globalized phase. We are existing in post-globalized phase of social life. Still, we say that we are living life in globalized social order. There has been dynamic change throughout the world so far the economic system of the global society is concerned. There has been very flexible and open economic relationship among the nations of the world because of the development of the new trend of economic relationships among the nations of the world. With the rapid change in the economic relationships among the nations of the world, with the development of the new concept of market economy, the question of commercialization of the sector of education has become the reality. With the spirit of commercialization of the systems of education of the nations of the world, the urgency of maintaining trade relationship has become inevitable. Friends, once we are to discuss about the public and private educational systems or mechanisms, then we must have to discuss about the process of commercialization and privatization. These are the words which are being which were being properly used or well used in the field of Western society in trade and commerce. And from Westerns, trade and commerce parameter, these words have come to occupy special place in our social order, and that's why the commercialization process of education has already become so much rapid, and privatization as a result has become the reality, and we people are bound to become so much concerning to our responsibilities as per studying our responsibilities which are being shortlisted in the constitution of our nation. So friends, we are to understand the constitutional obligation at the same time claiming all the constitutional rights. But what happens naturally? We become much more concerning to the rights which are being given and granted to us by the constitution. But so far the question or concern of responsibility towards the state is concerned, we do not become so much mindful. But friends, for the transformation of our national life, to make our nation one of the leader nations in the club of nations, we must have to realize our obligation at the same time claiming, our own rights, our own liberties. Sorry, let us go back to the next one. This institution, as you all know very well, has forced the nations of the world accept the spirit of privatization, means commercialization has forced us to accept the concept of privatization. The spirit of privatization has also brought to the field of education the spirit of trade and business, and many new changes have taken place in the field. So far the delivery system and the question of placement are concerned. So friends, the delivery system of knowledge has already been changed, and the placement concern has also been changed because of the privatization of the process of education. At the same time, it has linked with the process of commercialization, and that's why the concept of trade and business in the field of education has become very much important concept nowadays. And once education, the business concept has come to the field of education, the concept of commodity as education means now education has become, it is claimed that there is sellability of education. Just like the shirt, just like the tie, pen, spectacle or glass, education also can be purchased, and it is not so much very much good concept for democratic social order. Still, the question of privatization becomes so much important because of the process of commercialization just after the concept of globalization. And you all have observed that economic globalization and educational globalization, two concepts do have special importance for you, because you are to understand the private and public educational exercises. At the same time, the process of economic globalization and the globalization, knowledge globalization. These two terms have immensely been influencing the socio-economic and socio-educational as well as cultural environments of all the democratic nations of the world. Today's world is gradually getting one family in real sense, though from 5,000 years back in our society it has been taught to us that Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the whole world is one family, means we are living for the whole greater fabric of whole human society. All nations of the world are from diverse directions of relationships coming very close with the emergence of the spirit of internationalism, because without the respect towards the spirit of internationalism, we never can lead life in peace. If disturbance occurs or results between China and India, then other nations of the world will suffer. If war happens or take place or results between two nations or three nations, means between Pakistan and India, then also the most of the nations of the globe will suffer. So friends, the spirit of internationalism, respect for the spirit of internationalism has special importance at this critical juncture of social order or the order of nations of the society, as well as the economic order of the present day society. And that's why we are to understand the concept of economic globalization. At the same time, we are to understand the concept of knowledge globalization or educational globalization. Let us go back to the next slide. The spirit of internationalism has anyway compelled all the nations of the world to germinate very strongly the spirit of socio-economic competition. Economic competition. Most of the nations of the world at the present juncture are aiming at achieving the socio-economic development and the development of scientific and technological knowledge, development of military power. You have come to know Galwan after Galwan conflict, what has been happening. Development of military power and war machineries are becoming the prime objectives of all the nations of the world. Most of the nations are fighting to, modernize their military system so that they can protect their sovereignty. And protecting sovereignty is one of the most important duties of the national leaders. And education helps us to understand the significance of the sovereignty concept of the nations. There have been gradual competitions among the political activists though not in case of all bureaucrats and some of the social actors in upper social hierarchy to centralize money and power in their own hands in countries like India, Pakistan, etc. And what happens? Once money is centralized in strong few hands, and once power is centralized in few strong hands, disturbance results. Disturbance results, and this is the cause of conflict of nations of the world. This is the cause of, you see, conflict and war. Once money is centralized in few strong hands of few nations of the world, power is centralized in few strong hands of some few nations of the world, then national order will be totally different and there will be peaceless situation. Means the spirit of internationalism will be at stake. Let us go back to the next slide. The socio-cultural and political environments of some of the countries, namely Afghanistan, Iraq, Nepal and Sri Lanka, etc. have already been disturbed because of international chaotic situations. You come to know about Nepal, Oli Sharma, what he is doing. And external influence is there. There is external influence of China. Gradually in some societies, say as for example India, money and powers are centralized in few strong hands. Gradually means it happened in long past. As a result, gaps between the haves and have-nots have been increasing, and conflicts and disturbances in socio-political situations have also become the regular features of our day-to-day lives. Problems of population increase and environmental pollution, and of late the sudden outbreak of COVID-19 have added fuel to the flames of economic, political, health, business, socio-cultural and employment problems. Human existence in a sense is at stake now. In such a critical moment of human society, the roles of education are immense, and your duties as education activists are very much important, because you are to save, you are the watchdog of human society, you are the builders of human nation, you are the reformer of cultural parameter of human society, you are the transformer of global social order. So friends, your duty at this critical moment of human civilization is very much, you see, significant, and you are to realize it. Let us go back to the next one. Education, as you all know, is a process of human resource development. It helps to develop the inborn qualities of every individual according to own needs and needs of social life. It makes men and women fit to take part in the process of production. Thus, education in other sense is a vital force of development of personalities and development of social life. Education helps every nation to achieve the requisite development of national life. It is a life force of a nation, because with the help of education, prosperity of life, society, culture, growth of economy, establishment of peace and preservation of socio-cultural heritage and continuity of life in an orderly manner, all these are possible. Democratic values are developed and spread in social life with the help of education. So friends, how you see the role of education is how much you can charge with the help of these contents. By analyzing or scrutinizing each of the words of this slide, you can realize the potentiality of education, and that's why it has been said that it is a potential force for the sense in grand scale of our life and social order, at the same time civilization. Let us go back to the next slide. Education makes everybody fit to live life independently and helps to take active part in the process of social reconstruction for a democratic life in real sense. Education helps to make democracy fruitful and strong, and successful democracy helps everybody to enjoy life with the spirit of strong fellow feeling, cooperation and brotherhood. Education accelerates the process of national growth and development from all sides. It helps to produce proper human resources to meet the socio-cultural, political, economic, etc. aspirations, requirements and obligations. Without economic independence and self-support, no nation can progress in a planned manner. For this purpose, that is, to achieve economic prosperity, there is the need of scientific planning and the execution of such planning in time-bound manner. So friends, for the transformation, for the development and uplift of a state machinery, and for the development of our life, education has special importance and significance, and that's why as the educational activists, we are to be much more concerned concerning to the changing concept of education by scrutinizing the changing demand of our life, which has brought forward by the change and critical phase of time, means during this ongoing COVID-19 situation. Let us stop here at this point today, friends. You see the other part I will discuss, because this is very much important chapter for all the students, teachers, friends, educational officers, myself also, because by understanding the concept of education, we can understand our life. At the same time, we can understand our responsibility and roles for the construction or for the contribution towards the uplift of our national life and social order. Thank you so much. Have good day. Have good preparation.